Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're all having a great day. Today, I wanted to talk about what happens when your partner tells you that they still love you, but they're not in love with you anymore. Where do you go from here? So the thing is that paradoxically, humans want excitement and we want safety. And so, how do we have both, especially in a long term relationship? That's the real challenge, right? And so, I think that a lot of times this comes up in the fact that when your relationship is new and you're falling in love, it's all very exciting, it's all brand new. And so, the excitement of that is what sort of gives you that feeling, in your belly, the butterflies in your belly, and that's sort of like, or catching your breath when you see them, or, that sort of thing, right? That feeling of excitement and the newness of it. And, obviously that's really fun. And, it's really enjoyable. It's really part of the ride that can be a lot of fun. The problem is that once you get into a long-term relationship, it's not new anymore. And it's really hard to recapture that newness. How do we recreate that? And people get into ruts and they get into patterns, and then they kind of look around and they're like, we've been stuck in this same pattern for so long, and I love you, but I'm just not in love with you. I'm not feeling that spark of attraction, that, catching one's breath and being, overwhelmed by those feelings anymore. I mean, that's natural, right? The thing is that it is possible to sort of recapture that sometimes without going outside of your relationship. I think people just aren't willing to do the work that's needed in order for that to happen, or to have those tough conversations, right? Because it's really hard to say that to your loved one and for them not to feel really deeply hurt by that, or to feel helpless in that situation. It's like, well, what am I supposed to do? You're not in love with me anymore. Well, what am I supposed to do with that, right? So it has to be a collaborative effort. As a team, you need to figure out how to bring some level of excitement back into your lives. What does that mean? Like, what does that look like for you? Maybe it's a matter of changing things up a little bit, spicing things up. And I don't just mean in the bedroom, right? But just in general, spice things up, do different things, explore new aspects of your life together, right? And explore yourselves. Get to know yourselves better in this moment in time. People change. And another reason why I see people sort of fall out of love with their partner is they stop admiring them. And so Esther Perel talks about this in her book, and I'm sorry, I can't remember which one, but it's like when you see your partner in a social situation and you see them being admired when they're in their element and they're really on their game, and you see that admiration of the people around them for who they are, it kind of makes you see them again, maybe in a new light, right? So maybe that's what you're missing. You're missing the admiration that you had for that person. Maybe they've changed and maybe you no longer admire them, and that's possible. But maybe you just forgot those things that you actually admire, or maybe you just haven't been looking for them because you've been caught up in whatever, right? That pattern, that loop. And so it can be really challenging to rediscover each other, but it's possible. And so I really want to implore you that if you're feeling that way towards your spouse, like, yeah, I love them, but I'm not attracted to them anymore, or I'm not in love with them, really sit and think about why. Is it just because it's not new and exciting anymore and you've kind of gotten into a rut? Or has that person changed or not changed enough for you to admire them still? Or maybe you're just not looking for those things to admire about them because of whatever reasons. And that's often related to, relationship burnout, right? That happens. It happens. But it's not like it can't be fixed. It's completely fixable, except for the part where if they haven't grown or changed, or if they changed into something that's no longer admirable. I mean, there's work that could be done on their part to become that person, right? So maybe the falling in love was falling in love with the idea of a person and they didn't live up to that idea, right? Maybe you fell in love with the sort of the dreams and hopes that you had for the future with them, and that didn't pan out. They didn't sort of honor their part. Whether they knew it or not, maybe they didn't know. Maybe they didn't know what you were really needing in a partner. And when you tell them, maybe there's an opportunity for growth there. It's entirely up to them. So I wanted to share this with you because I do know that this can happen a lot in relationships. I hear it in some of my clients. I hear it on, in groups and whatnot, just people expressing this in, various forums. So I just wanted to get on and talk about that and, let you know that there is hope for your relationship if either of you are sort of expressing that or feeling that. It's a tough conversation that you need to have, and maybe you need some help with that. Maybe you aren't sure how to approach it in a way that would make it more collaborative and make it more of a team effort so that your partner doesn't automatically just get really defensive and hurt. Maybe there's a way that you can explore this by approaching it in a we kind of way, as opposed to, I love you, but I'm not in love with you anymore. I mean, that's extremely hurtful. It could maybe come up in a way of, we've really gotten into a bit of a rut. We don't often talk about our sex life anymore. We're not really sharing, what would be fun and exciting for each of us. Maybe we could start with having conversations around that, right? And, sometimes we need some help with that. We don't know how to express that. Maybe we're not sure what we're really feeling or what lack we're feeling. And so having someone to talk to about that can be really helpful. And then as a couple, having someone to talk to that's going to help sort of go deeper and help sort of mediate the situation so that people feel heard and we can just deal with that surface level stuff, or we can go deeper into what's really going on and what's needed in the relationship to repair. Because saying to someone, I love you, but I'm not in love with you, is not solution oriented. It's just really kind of hurtful, to be honest. I get what you're saying. If you're the person saying it, I totally understand the sentiment. I get what you're trying to convey. I just think there's a better way to go about that. We're lacking excitement. We're lacking connection. We're lacking, some element in our relationship where we're not operating as a team, but we're also not sort of creating that dynamic in our relationship. So both of those things could be worked on together and separately. So I hope this helps. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. If you've experienced that yourself, if you were the person who was told that by someone, how did that make you feel? Or if you were the person trying to express that to your loved one, what was sort of the reaction that you got when you said that? Was it the reaction that you were hoping for? Did it lead to any deeper sort of conversations and maybe some truths and some solutions? How did it go for you? So I'd love to hear that. So please feel free to reach out. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Namaste.